It's the Brad and John Show.
The Brad and John Show. Today is the B block for October 2nd. And the B block means we start right around 7:20. And what's the B block mean, John? What's it mean?
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
I think you had it right on tone that time. Yes, it's time for Brad's Top 3. Ladies, one more time.
It's time for Brad's
And we start off with...
It's number 3.
I sent you this picture, John, because I saw this on Facebook yesterday. This was an aerial photograph taken, I guess, back sometime in the 60s of the Pruitt-Igoe project. Have you ever seen that picture before?
Never. And it looks like you're looking at a series of beautiful buildings on the Strip in Las Vegas, like luxury apartments.
That's exactly what I thought.
Can you believe that a demographic ruined those housing projects? Brad?
Or you look at some fancy schmancy, high-rise condo complex like in Florida or like in Arizona or something like that, right? And I tried to count. Wouldn't you say that it looks like there are probably, 20 buildings at least there?
I'd say 20, yeah. And I didn't know that there were that many buildings, standalone buildings in Pruitt-Igoe. It was not what I remembered from pictures.
Exactly, nor did I. And the interesting thing is when we're talking 20 buildings, we're not talking 21 or two-story apartment buildings. Most of these apartment buildings look like they have at least 10 floors. Wouldn't you say that would be probably correct? At
That's
least 10?
fair, yeah.
Some of them look like they're even more than 10 floors. Okay. I found this fascinating because this was on somebody's Kathy Peterson Henning. She writes a Facebook page called "I Grew Up in Missouri," and it says, "Aerial view of the Pruitt-Igoe public housing complex in St. Louis shortly after its completion in 1956. It looks absolutely, positively, stunningly beautiful. And wasn't it 10 years later that they tore it down?" I mean,
yeah, I think it was probably more than 10 years, but I don't know, Brad. I don't have those facts in front of me. And you and I've discussed on the show because I spent the first 18 and a half years of my life in Spanish Lake. You spent your formative years there. The destruction of Pruitt-Igoe, I would argue, and reasonable people would argue, by its tenants,
right,
who treated it because they have no ownership, et cetera. We know how that works.
Right.
And they infested North St. Louis County, which led to the downfall of North St. Louis County.
Right. And the reason that happened in North County, and a little bit of history, if you go watch, and I'm not trying to be racial, John has seen this documentary. I've seen it as well, too. I paid to go see it at the Varsity Theater in U City. It's called Spanish Lake, and it's done by a guy who was, he wasn't necessarily a documentary guy, but he was a movie guy. And the story was he spent part of his years, I think junior high and senior high in North County, and then his parents moved, and he ended up being in the movie industry. And he was in L.A. He lived in L.A. I don't know what he did in the movie industry, but he was on a flight from New York back to L.A., and he had like a long layover. So he rented a car, and he drove up into North County and thought, oh, my God, it's not the way I left it. And he came back and did a documentary, and he talked. The beginning of the documentary has a very interesting historical perspective of Pruitt-Igoe. How, and he's got all sorts of newsreel footage of them building it and things like that, and then tearing it down. And the interesting aspect he points out was that the largest portion of St. Louis County that was unincorporated was the North County area where you and I grew up, Spanish Lake. And the reason they were able to essentially put all these residents from Pruitt-Igoe up there is because they had no representation, because there was no city. There was, and apparently the county, whatever he was, county council person was like, I don't care, do whatever you want, that kind of thing. So it was interesting. So I found that interesting, and I saw that yesterday. I instantly thought of you because I had no idea that Pruitt-Igoe was as large as it was. I mean, a huge complex, which looks like, if you look at the picture there,
monstrosity, and it didn't take long for the residents to destroy it.
It looks, if you look at some of the blocks, some of the houses around it, it looks, and John, tell me if I'm correct or not, I would say this took 20 city blocks. If you look
that's fair, for sure.
If you look at the areas around it, you see some of the blocks, 20 city blocks of these high-rise apartments, they're all gone, tore down. Okay, ready for number 2?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's time for Brad's number 2. It's time for Brad's number 2.
Over the course of, and I have a tie here. You know what I need to do? I need to invoke.
Oh yeah, pull out a special clip, like a bonus clip.
Here we go.
It's a Brad Top 3 extra.
Okay, it's the Brad's Top 3 extra. This is going to be 2B. Okay, John, Remember the traffic calming devices that they put on Clarkson and Long Road? Remember this, John?
I do. And by they, you mean MoDOT.
Right, MoDOT. Okay. I've railed against the fact that when you drive on Natural Bridge, it used to be 4 lanes, 2 lanes in each direction, right there in front of UMSL. They narrowed it down to 1 lane in each direction, and they put in a very pretty little center divider that they've got trees and flowers on, but yet there's only 1 lane of traffic going in each direction. Kara Spencer, who has all these problems in the city of St. Louis, yesterday it came out, you know what she's going to do, John?
Oh, no. Is she adding some sort of center lane or traffic calming devices?
Tucker Avenue between roughly Cole Street, where the Channel 30 building is, which is being torn down, by the way. Actually, they're taking down the tower. They're going to turn the Channel 30 building into condos. But on the north end of Tucker and the south end of Tucker, which would be like right where Highway 40 crosses over, where the old police headquarters used to be, is 8 lanes. 4 northbound, 4 southbound. She's going to reduce that to 2 lanes northbound and 2 lanes southbound, and in some spots, 1 lane northbound and southbound. So you have this nice, beautiful, wide vista in downtown St. Louis, 8 lanes, north and south. And matter of fact, in my father's day, he talked about how in the old days it was 12th Street, how they, like in rush hour traffic, it was jammed solid with traffic going north and south on 12th Street, okay? They're going to narrow it down, and they're going to put in traffic calming devices because there's just too many problems on Tucker with people driving fast and rolling through the stop lights and crime and everything like that. So, spending city money for maybe hiring more police officers? No! We're going to narrow down Tucker from 8 lanes to 4 lanes, okay? Does that make any sense to you, John?
To play devil's advocate, if you have a city with a declining population and a declining Cardinals attendance and a declining number of people that would actually go down there and eat a meal, risk their life to eat a meal, maybe we don't need as many traffic lanes.
The interesting part of it is I heard this story yesterday, and this morning I was listening to Mark Cox and Dan Buck, who's sitting in for Kim St. who's on maternity leave on 97.1. And they work downtown. The studios for Y98 and KZK and 97.1 are all right there on, what is that, Olive and Tucker? I believe it's the corner of Olive and Tucker.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
In the park.
Oh, yikes. They have to go down there?
Yes. And
that's disgusting. I had no idea they had to do that,
yes,
Brad.
the interesting part of this is they said something that I have experienced as well, too. If you go north and south in Tucker, traffic calming devices, here's the problem. The problem is they have a stoplight at almost every street. Olive, Poplar, there's not a Poplar. I can't remember. What's the other streets down there? And they are not synchronized. And the interesting thing they talk about, because they get to work early, they get to work at like 4:30 in the morning. You get stuck at all the traffic lights that are not synchronized, and there's no motion detectors. In other words, a lot of the newer traffic lights have a thing where if the main drag is going like north and south, it won't turn red for north and south traffic unless somebody pulls up to the stoplight going east to west.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay,
yeah, of course.
But not in downtown St. Louis. The traffic lights.
No.
So that's 2B. 2A, okay? I'm going to read you an article. I've read 3 articles this week on Portland, Oregon. Portland police seek public's health after, quote, safe space officer loses track of assault suspect near ICE facility. Now, if you know this crazy story, for 100 days now, 100 plus days, every night, the Antifa crowd, in black with their black hoodies and the whole bit. Actually, they wear black masks and the whole bit. They're protesting in front of the ICE building in Portland, Oregon. Okay? Now, get this. You're going to like this. In Portland, they have dialogue liaison officers. These are sworn officers tasked with holding a safe place for protesters. Once again, these are full-blown police officers, but they're part of what they call the DLO, the Dialogue Liaison Officers Corps, and their job is to not do anything, but just make sure that there are safe spaces for people to protest, John. This is what we need in St. Louis. And the story was...
Well, isn't that, you do want to give them a safe space, right, Brad? You don't want protesters to feel unsafe. You want to give them the upper hand.
Here's the story. Police, Portland Police Bureau, and they don't even call it the police department. It's now be called the Portland Police Bureau. Officials said that just before 8:45 Tuesday, a dialogue liaison officer, DLO, was monitoring, quote, a gathering outside the ICE building in the South Portland neighborhood when she was flagged down by a person who said an assault had just taken place. The DLO followed the woman who was described as a white female with a large septum nose ring piercing, wearing a black mask and carrying a black backpack. I'm reading it verbatim, trying to talk to her to, quote, hear her side of the story, according to a news release from the Portland police. The woman, who would not stop, said the DLO told her she was being detained. She allegedly refused the lawful police order and fled. The DLO called in additional police resources, and just before 9 p.m., patrol officers met with the victim and began an investigation. Now, here's the interesting paragraph. DLOs are sworn police officers, though they act in the role of liaison and, quote, cannot get involved in enforcement action, according to the release from the Portland Police Bureau. Then what the hell are they doing? You know,
so are they supposed to be kind of like high school counselors? Like they try to just get people to talk if they have an issue?
I have no idea.
So you have a protester and you have law enforcement, and then you have somebody that's just a mediator between them? I mean, seriously, is that what they're supposed to do?
I guess.
Like just translate police speak into protester speak?
Okay, and now here's, according to the city's website, DLOs, and once again, these are, what did I say, designated liaison officers. Is that what I said? Yeah. Dialogue liaison officers. Okay, according to the Portland police website, or according to the Portland city website, DLOs were put in place to, quote, build relationships with protesters following the violent 2020 protests in Portland. So... does this make any sense to you, John? Does it make any sense to you at all?
No. I mean, in Portland, yeah, it makes perfect Portland sense.
I don't get it.
Why don't we do that out here? Like, why don't we do that on Mid-River Mall Drive? If you have somebody going crazy in a go-kart, you don't want to have a police officer come after them. You need maybe a seasoned citizen that can kind of interpret and mediate.
See, I've said all along that the problem with policing, and my police friends are going to, pull over and dial me and yell at me when I say this, there should be grades of police officers. And to a certain extent, you have that in departments like the city of St. Louis. You have what they call the meter people, that some call them the meter maids, because traditionally they were women who gave out parking tickets, okay? They have no arrest capabilities and stuff like that. I say what they should do is, as you come into the police department, you become police officer 1, and you get paid $1 an hour. But what they do is they put you at a traffic light, and instead of having the red light cameras, and your job is to nab people that run the red light camera or that run the red light, and you get 50% of each ticket that collected. So in other words,
that's a good idea.
So in other words, they would just sit there. But the interesting part of it was you would have guys out there, they'd come into work. Hey, Sarge, I know I'm only supposed to work 8 hours today, but can I work a double? And I'm not going to ask to get paid for that extra 8 hours. I just want to make that commission I make off each red light ticket. But not only that, think about it. You'd have police officers at every intersection, and everybody knows that the more police presence you have, the less crime you have, because of the fact that the popo are there to watch out, and the people who are the bad people are not going to do things when the popo are around. Right, John?
It sounds like a win-win for everybody.
Okay, number one.
The number one.
I have to tell you, we will never have a president like Donald Trump. And some people would say, thank God. First off, have you seen the meme put together with Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer? Have you seen this?
I saw a video that you sent. I did watch the video that you sent first this morning, Brad, about the sombrero.
Is that?
It's really good. I love it. And MSNBC was so offended by it that MSNBC said they wouldn't even dignify it by playing it on their airwaves.
What's so funny about it is, I don't know if it's one of the presidential staff. It's probably not. It's probably some content creator that took honest-to-goodness newsreel footage of Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer. Hakeem Jeffries, you don't know, he's the minority head of the of the House of Reps, and Schumer is the minority head of the senators. And this was after they had their session in the White House, and they're standing in front of that area where people go into the White House, not the main entrance, but it's like a drive-through kind of entrance. You know what I'm talking about, John? And they're doing a press conference, and somebody has put a sombrero on Hakeem Jeffries' head, and he'd given him like that Frito Bandito mustache, the handlebar mustache with the ends.
A stereotypical Mexican mustache.
Right, with the ends turned up. And Chuck Schumer, they've AI'd him, and it's perfect. You cannot tell. The voice is exactly him, and the lips on Chuck Schumer are moving perfectly with the dialogue, and he's talking about he's talking about hey, he's I can't say everything he said. It's so funny. So then what's happened is the MSNBC crowd went nuts. Oh my God, this is horrible. This is terrible. So did you watch the entire video? Did you watch that?
I watched most of it, but not the whole thing.
Did you see the point where Hakeem Jeffries is on MSNBC complaining about this, and somebody took the MSNBC footage, and when he's actually with the MSNBC banner on the bottom, the lower third, did you see that part of the video?
No, I didn't.
Oh, my God, you need to watch this. He's on MSNBC complaining about these memes that the president's putting out there, and it's terrible. And halfway through his rant, somebody took the AI, and they put a sombrero on his head and with the Frito Bandito mustache on him, and there's 4 guys behind him with sombreros playing.
Oh, yeah, they played like a Mexican hat dance.
And
yeah.
Guess who the 4 musicians are behind Hakeem Jeffries?
Who are they?
Donald Trump.
Oh, nice. Very good.
Now, the interesting part of this is that not only is that what I find fascinating about this, first off, and maybe we'll talk about this in C Block because of my interaction yesterday with Michael Burton, it's to the point where for a long time, the Democrats ruled because they controlled the media. So what has happened is, I will say now, the Republicans control the media, and it's not the crazy, weird bat guano stuff that the Democrats put out. It's the funny ha-ha stuff that the Republicans are generating. John, are you with me or not?
Yeah, 100%. We're evading that mainstream media and going directly to voters.
But more importantly, it's funny stuff. It's
really good stuff.
It's not the this is so terrible. We've got to get rid of these Republicans. And the funny part of this is they've turned the perspective of the media being in charge, and the MSNBC people are on their show being butthurt, and yet everybody's watching this on their iPhones or their Android phones, their desktops, these memes, and they're laughing just like you and I are. And I'm sorry, if you are a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, if you watch this video, you will laugh because it's so funny.
It's really good, Brad. It's really funny. And the madder they get about it,
yes,
you just throw more graphics on
right, exactly.
And didn't Democrats used to be the party of humor and jovialness? But not anymore.
Well, you had, but look at the situation. Yesterday, I was seeing tweets from, what's the guy's name? I can never remember his name. The guy used to be on Saturday Night Live. Stuart Smalley, whatever his name was. I'm talking about
Al Franken?
Yeah, Al Franken. He's on Twitter yesterday, or X, blah, 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 blah. I go, dude, give it a break.
Yeah, give it a break,
you were a comedian once upon a time. You did funny stuff. I loved you when you were Saturday Night Live. Go back to being funny again. Stop being so weirdo serious.
It's too much to ask, Brad. They can't do it.
I guess that's the situation. Okay, up next, I will reveal partially the Michael Burton phone call I got you from yesterday. Okay, ready for this, John?
Yeah, I can't wait.